Here's the thing, Canada. I think we all have to wake up and realize that if we want to have the same problem, then the Liberals are the way to go. But it's funny because their narrative hasn't changed, even though their party leader has. So we all know Justin Trudeau, bye bye, he's gone. You got Mark Carney in there. And now people are actually having conversations about housing. Now, the funny thing is, and one of the things that's a little bit problematic is that Mr. Carney here is actually equating some of our housing issues to the Trump administration. He came flat out that he's got this new idea on how housing should be fixed and advanced and everything else, all because it's a reaction to the tariffs by President Donald Trump. So I've got a real problem with this because here's the thing. Our housing problem is at least a decade old, and it's all because the Liberals. And now, all of a sudden, they want to post blame to the new president of the United States. So I'm not sure why we should even be considering anything like this. But out of the gate, we've got Mark Carney he's changing the narrative because he's looking to get some votes. And part of it is, of course, is Mark Carney's Liberals unveil Canada's most ambitious housing plan since the Second World War. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. Mark Carney came up with this? It sounds a little bit familiar. Wasn't there another guy that had something to say about housing? Let's take a look.
Today, we are releasing the most comprehensive and ambitious housing plan ever seen in Canada. It builds on the sizable investments we've made over the years, and it goes a lot further. It's a plan to build housing, including for renters, on a scale not seen in generations. We're talking about almost 3.9 million homes by 2031.
Okay, that is almost a year and a half old. And by 2031, so if we back it up 7 years, Mr. Trudeau here was making a commitment to what? Very similar to Mr. Carney's latest announcement. It's almost like they've got the same speechwriters. Now, here's the thing. How did the Liberal government do last year in 24? Our construction was actually down in comparison to what they were equating the numbers to be. I mean, they're basically saying, 500, 600,000 homes they're going to build if we average it out over the next 7 years? Not even close. But, let's give Mr. Carney a chance. Let's see what he has to say about his promise and commitment.
We used to build things in this country. After the Second World War, Canada faced a housing crisis. The government built prefabricated homes that were easy to assemble and inexpensive. And those homes are still here 80 years later. Now we're in another housing crisis. And it's time your government got back into the business of building affordable homes. We will build new homes for Canadians at a pace not seen since the Second World War. We'll build a Canada you can afford.
All right, so let's break it down. Mark Carney knows nothing about construction, so he wants to do the prefab homes, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Mr. Carney, just so we're clear, who exactly built the homes back in the 1940s, 1950s, and 1960s? That's right, the new immigrants. Oh, wait a minute, they were skilled trades. Oh, wait a minute, they were builders. So I don't know. Have you reached out to Italy, Portugal, Spain, and the biggest contributors to our building and find out if they could send some workers our way? Because the last time I checked, your immigration policy didn't have anything to do with skilled trades. So again, one more Liberal that is completely dysfunctional about talking about construction. 500,000 homes in a year. Does anybody know what the top number that Canada did produce? Maxed out, we can push maybe 230, 240,000 homes at best. And out of nowhere, he's sitting there saying that the government is going to become the builder. that, we need the government to build. Now, I get it. They think that they're going to reinvent everything that happened all these years later. But my question to you is this. How many people want to live in those little shoebox homes? We used to call them wartime bungalows, and they were great. They're normally in neighborhoods with really big lots. Yes, people did raise kids in them. You know what? My grandparents had one of them, and that's one of the things that people have to look at is, can you do it? Yes. But Mr. Carney, I'm going to ask you, are you going to live in one of those? Oh, no, that's right. You're going to stay down in the United States in your mansion. Or whatever you're going to get given to you here in Canada. Now, again, his housing plan, and this is actually posted by them. I got to tell you, this is some stellar marketing piece. Get the government back in the business of building. I didn't know the government was in the business of building. Quite frankly, they haven't figured out how to fix half the stuff. What do you think? You're going to start building brand new? Cut red tape and make it easier to build? Wow, there's a campaign promise. You know what? You've been talking about it. Your government's been talking about it. And the same people that are in place, you just shifted their hats. But everybody's talking about red tape. It's really not getting any better. And cut taxes for first-time homebuyers. Wow, really? Okay, so we're going to cut out the HST. So big deal, okay? The fact is that affordability has a lot to do with development charges. And Mr. Carney, you know what? I don't see you sitting there making a commitment to the builders and the municipalities removing the necessary taxes so we can actually bring down our costs. No, you sit there and you say you're going to turn around and come up with some neat scheme for loans and everything else, and everybody's going to come in. My problem, and one of the biggest problems I have with you, Mark Carney, is this. I have to ask you, are you building affordable housing or housing that's affordable? There is a difference. And that's one of the things that I think you need to consider before you put your foot in your mouth and talk about what Canadians need. Okay? Canadians need a government that isn't going to do this bait and switch with numbers. I'm sorry, but everybody in Canada, let's be very clear. Any number this government gives you for completion of construction is an impossible number. We can't build 500,000 homes a year. When Trudeau turned around and came up with that 3.9 million by 2031, I called BS on it because it's an impossibility. Not only do we not have the trades, we don't have the infrastructure, we don't have the development ability. So, you know what? At this stage, again, this is just a liberal lie for votes. It's time that we got rid of the same liars. They're just wearing different hats. Now they're going to be building. But they still throw everything together by saying, this is a reaction to Trump's tariffs. This has nothing to do with the United States tariffs. Our housing problem has been in place for years. Your government has done nothing to solve the problem. And no matter what you say, you will not be able to deliver it. I've always said this of politicians. Why not actually give a number you can achieve? Okay? Talking to us about 500,000 homes in a year. When, Mark? When is that going to happen? Well, it's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen next year. What about the next year after that? No. So for you to rev this up, we would have to get stuck with you for decades. And Canada can't take it. You've already made it very, very clear the direction you want Canada to go in. And it's not the direction for Canadians. It's your WEF agenda, your New World Order, your Chinese influence. Mark, it's time for you to step aside, okay? We need real leadership if Canada's going to prosper. And your party has shown that it can't do that. Now, again, this is just one person's opinion, but I have to tell you, I back everything by facts when we talk about construction, okay, and when we talk about real estate. Real estate is important to Canadians. You need a roof over your head. If we continue with our immigration numbers, we're going to need more roofs over our head. So let's be real, okay? Let's actually get the right people in place. Let's start at the right levels and actually get housing built. Not some crazy number. Even if you just added 10% extra per year, we're still going to be building more homes. Coming up with this pie in the sky, it's a dream, Mark. And fortunately, it's become a nightmare for Canadians. Let's avoid it altogether. As I wrap everything up, as I usually do, you know what? This truly is about your family, definitely the next generation, our kids. You know, this is really important. Housing is at a really, I would say, crossroads today. And, one of the things I try to do is I try to educate people on our real estate part of it. My real estate talk triangle, we just did a drop. If you want to catch that podcast, it's about an hour long. I've got some real estate experts that join me every single month. You don't want to miss it because we do talk very candidly about the real estate market and the direction that it's going into. But for, in the most case, I'd love to hear your comments on this. What do you think? Is it just pie in the sky, or does Mark Carney actually have the solution to making housing better and more affordable? Anyways, I'm Todd C. Slater. Thanks for tuning in.